Alright, so I've been meaning to do this for a while. A couple months ago, I posted a video about a new putting style that I was working on with an emphasis on spin putting. And mostly what it was a different grip that I've been using to help me just mostly boost confidence. And I still use this three-finger grip. It's in one of my other videos if you want to take a closer look at it. I still use it sometimes, but for the most part I've switched back to an all four-finger fan grip. The only major difference is I'm keeping my pointer finger underneath the rim of the disc at all times, and that's kind of helped me with getting a little squirrely and messing with the nose angle in the middle of putts. So that's kind of boosted my consistency. But today I want to talk about two drills that I've kind of just made up myself for putting. That's helped me in getting the feel of a good putt down. It's really what's mostly improved for me is my putting outside the circle, getting those 40-50 foot putts to fall a little more consistently, because I'm now able to keep the same putting motion and get a little more distance out of it with more accuracy and consistency, and without having to do gimmicky little stuff to try and boost my distance. So I wanted to share these two tips today, and the way I do them when I do them, honestly, is sitting on my couch at night. Our couches kind of have big armrests, and I sit on the right hand side, so I have an armrest right here to put my elbow on. And so as I'm kind of making some motions and miming, you can just kind of imagine. And if you have a chair or a couch like that, then it could work that way for you too. But first of all, I just want to kind of explain, for those of you who are like me and spin putt, I think the two things I'm going to be talking about and the two things that this drill helps are crucial to putting consistency. And what I call it, if you haven't figured this out yet, or if you've never even, if it hasn't even crossed your mind, putting is a very fine motor skills action. You have to have a lot of dexterity in your fingers, because the way to get a disc to travel consistently is actually a very inconsistent motion. And it's getting all of your fingers to kind of pop off of the disc at the same time every time. A lot of people kind of try and throw it like a regular frisbee and get a lot of wrist snap into their putts like a normal rack disc. But if you want to be a consistent disc golf putter with a disc golf disc, this is really the way that you need to go. And the two kind of things, the two motions that you have to master to be a good spin putter in disc golf is what I call outward pop and upward pop. And these are motions that you generate with your fingers almost entirely. The large motion comes from your shoulder. Not a lot of motion comes from your elbow. It's basically shoulder and then a little bit of wrist, but then mostly all fingers after that. And the two drills that I've come up with to work on this are for generating upward pop and generating outward pop. The first one is for outward pop, which is the motion that you're imparting on the disc that makes it fly forward. So if I was just to stand here and do it, it would go in a straight line forward, probably fall 4 feet in front of me. So that you have to incorporate the forward pop, the outward pop with the upward pop to get a nice arc to the basket. So the first drill, what I do, I'll turn sideways so you can kind of see, I rest my arm on my chair, and I sit here and just kind of let my wrist hang limp with the disc in my hand and my normal putting grip, and then I just flick the disc up with no motion in my elbow whatsoever. It's literally all my wrist moving from there to there. I'm not flicking my wrist a lot. It's just kind of a little wrist bounce, and then popping my fingers off the disc to try and generate as much of a wobble-less spin as I possibly can. So I'm wanting the disc to move perfectly up and down as best as I can. I generally do like a little 2 bounce with my wrist, because that's how I actually putt on the course. It's kind of a 2 bounce thing. And that's how I work on getting my disc to pop out of my hand forward. But as you can see, this doesn't really generate a whole lot of distance or speed. And so that's where the upward pop comes from. And it really is more upward. I know it's kind of an outward motion, but the wrist pop is really what sends the disc forward. And the way I generate that is, again, sitting on my couch and moving my hand and my arm completely straight up and down, and trying to not move my wrist at all, and get a, let me see if I can do a better sit down, you might not be able to see me, and get a consistent rotation on the disc. It's okay for this drill that the disc wobbles a little bit, and that's because the principles of physics kind of take over, and with no outward motion added to the upward motion, there's not enough spin on the disc at all to make it not wobble for this drill. But you want the upward, you know, I kind of think about it like tossing a pizza one-handed. You're just kind of, it's a lot of thumb and middle finger action, and you're just spinning it up. And so when you incorporate that together, the outward pop and the upward pop, weak because I don't want to knock my camera off my basket. But when you get these things together, you get a motion with the disc that is, generally I putt on a hyzer angle, and it keeps the disc flying flat, spinning this way, but also moving in that arc motion to get the disc to travel a lot of great distances. And then what I do to make the disc travel farther is I widen up my stance if I'm outside the circle, and I keep all these principles the same. I just elongate them, and I drop the disc down farther and pop it from further out. So I hope that makes sense. I hope it helps a little bit, as much as I can hope to help somebody through a YouTube video. If you have any questions, comment below. Thanks.